Welcome to Describing the Skybox, the podcast that's like a book club for people who don't think that books reward them enough for being good at them. I'm Chad Rutherman.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And today, we're going to be talking about Hades 2, a game that was developed and published by Supergiant Games and released in 2025 on Windows, macOS, Switch, and the Switch 2.
But first, if you can give us a like, a rating, or subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. Chad, can you describe Hades 2?
If you have played a roguelike in the last 5 years, you will know how Hades 2 plays. So obviously there's no need to go over the genre if you are familiar with Hades, the game. However, if you are not, Hades 2 is an action roguelike game. It has hack and slash combat and the pick between three things roguelike power-up style that the first game made popular and invaded every single roguelike game that has come out for a long time. Mm-hmm. It plays pretty similarly on like a base level to Hades 1. But I will say this game, I think, adds a lot more combat complexity than Hades had, which I think a lot of its complexity came just from boons. And I think Hades 2, there's just a lot more things that the player themselves can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll definitely have to like be in the driver's seat on this one because you played like 200 plus hours of the first one.
400 plus hours of the first one.
Excuse me. And I played 60 hours of it. It's one for me. It's one of those things where like they really blur together. Like especially now that I've played this one for like 25 hours or whatever. I am kind of like, oh, was this in the first one or, like with certain elements. But yeah, because like they felt like they played identically to me on a base level. And it was just like the stuff added on top that made them different. Obviously like there's different weapons and things like that. But yeah, like things like the arcana, like cards and the familiars is what felt like it like gave it its identity. Right.
Yeah, there are two warring factions in my mind as to like where I want to begin with this. I think there's like a rogue element of me that wants to talk about just like the thing that I like the most about this game in comparison to its predecessor, but I actually do think that would be better saved for later. So to talk about the mechanical differences between this game and its first game, the big thing as far as like, yes, there are 6 new weapons, and zero of the old weapons return. So it is a fully different set of weapons. A lot of them call back to each other, I think, a good bit. I think that the staff feels very similar to the spear generally. Weapons even more specific, like the pan. The aspect of pan for the daggers calls back to the aspect of, I'm going to get it wrong, but I'm thinking it's Chiron for the bow, where after you shoot somebody with the regular, when you with the attack, if you hit the special, all the arrows home in. With pan, like you put the cast down and then your Omega special daggers all home in on the people in the cast. So I think there's some parallels that were intentionally drawn, like, no need to reinvent the wheel. That was like the most popular aspect of the bow, I think, generally speaking, among the player base. So it makes sense to bring a mechanic similar to that back. And there are other ones that are similar. Shiva, which you wouldn't have seen, most likely, is really similar to the aspect of Eris on the rail in the first game. But all the weapons play kind of the same. There's an attack, there's a special, and that's going to be dependent on which weapon as to what those things do. You have a dash and a cast, which are the same, both to Hades 1 for the most part. There's a sprint in this game that didn't exist in Hades 1 if you hold it down. And then the cast is a circle now instead of a thing that you throw. And that's a big change. And I think that it's necessitated because of the big new addition, which are Omega moves. So all of your attack specials and casts can be held down to execute a different type of move that costs magic. So you now have a second bar to manage. You have an HP bar and you have a magic bar. And I really, really like the combat in this game. Just like flat out, I think it's amazing. I thought that I might have liked the weapons in Hades 1 a little more, but I did play a little bit of Hades 1 in the last week, and I think they kind of line up the same for me. I like most of them, and then there's like one weapon that I don't like at all, and then one weapon where I like one of the aspects to it. Mm-hmm. So it ends up kind of falling in the same sort of thing for me, and I really love the additional complexity in the form of the Omega attacks and the binding circle as part of the cast. I could honestly take or leave the sprint. It feels really good sometimes when you get like a lot of things that make it faster. But yeah, I think the main combat has been improved overall between the two games.
For sure. Yeah, I feel like because I played the original for like 60 hours. Like I beat it and then messed around for additional time. With what's it called, like the heat system or whatever, where you can make it harder. The
pact of punishment.
Yeah. And I feel like I had like a really like specific style, like a specific strategy that I liked. Like, 'cause my favorite weapon was the fist weapons, and I would take the Athena, Goddess of Wisdom, Athena charm or keepsake every time, so I could get the shield dash, and so I would just kind of mash the dash and the attack button, and I could zip around and just pummel stuff and take almost usually no damage because of the shield dash, and that also worked with the sword, and then I also liked the bow because of range. And I would rotate through those three weapons, and that strategy worked really well. I really favored Athena as my favorite god in that game. And then in this one, you can't really do that because Athena is locked to after you get to the surface. But I was so stoked when I realized that Shield Dash is still in the game. But so yeah, I ended up favoring heavily the Sister Blades.
Okay.
And I had just unlocked the aspect of Pan, and it is my favorite one. So I guess I'm playing to the crowd with that one, to the popular.
Well, not
vote.
so much in this game, but in Hades 1, that was the most popular aspect for the bow. Was the one that homed.
Yeah. And I kind of didn't like any of the other weapons. I especially hated the two the witch things, the Hecate's weapon,
the torches.
The torches. Yeah, I hate that weapon. I like the axe on paper, but it's just too slow for me to get good with. I think the staff is okay, and I thought I would like the skull. It took me forever to unlock it, and then I just don't like using it whatsoever. And I can't remember what the other weapon. I didn't unlock the last one yet.
Yeah, the black coat.
The black coat. Yeah, I don't have that yet, and I feel like I'm forgetting one.
No. It's 6 weapons: so staff, dagger, axe, skull, coat, torches. Yep.
Okay. Never mind. I got them all. So yeah, I basically have just played, other than when I was messing around at the beginning, just the Sister Blades. But I do like those a lot. So I said that it maps pretty well onto Hades 1 for me, that there was one weapon that I liked one aspect on, and then one weapon that I didn't like at all. The weapon that I didn't like at all was the Sister Blades. I hate the daggers, and if I could, and I can. For context, I have done everything that the game rewards you for at this point in this game, I think.
I finished all the testaments. I did the 32 fear underworld run and the 24 fear surface run to get the last statue. I have maxed out all of the cards and the keepsakes and everything else. I think the only thing that the game has for me is to get kudos to decorate the crossroads. So I am very deep into it at this point, which means that if I want to, I could just never play the daggers again. And there's a chance that I might not. I do think that the hidden aspect of the daggers, which is the Morrigan, the way that it works is it has like a weird UI element that draws a triangle over the people that you're attacking. And you get one side or one axis of the triangle for each of an attack, a special, and an omega move of some kind. So you can do the cast or the attack or the special for that one. And then if you do all three to the same enemy, they just take 777 damage.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it actually is very cool. And I like the moveset better because the attack is just like a 2-attack combo. It's just like one and then a second big one. I am just a big axe fanboy. I love all the aspects of the axe.
I definitely would have called that.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it so bad. Like, it feels so good to use, but like, man, I'm bad at avoiding damage when I'm using it.
Yeah, I would say, like, it sucks how long it takes to unlock the hidden aspects in this game. It doesn't really suck. It sucks for the context of this conversation, because, like, there was no chance that you were going to get to them. Like, by the time I got to them, I was like, well, I could just scratch that off my list of things to talk about. Because it's like, I was like 50 hours into the game or something before I had unlocked them. And then leveling them takes even longer than that. So, but the axe hidden aspect, the aspect of Nurgle, is very cool. It has like a slightly different moveset. Like, you pound, because it's a big mace, you pound the ground instead of doing like swipes. But after you hit people so many times, you get like a status that lasts for X number of seconds, and hitting people will then heal you. That's the weapon that I ended up doing my 32 fear run. Yeah, it's really cool. And it's a very good weapon. The aspect of Charon also, the one with the casts and then you use the Omega special and they explode, is like one of my favorite weapons. But yeah, the axe and the skull for me were like the two that really stood out. But like with the torches, I kind of agree with you. Because I love Moros. The aspect of Moros torches, I think they're very strong. And I find them fun to use. I don't really like any of the other aspects of the torches. I like the idea of Eos, like, because you send out like a thing that just like deals damage aside from you. It's like a summoner kind of build, but I have no idea what to do with it to make it good. Like, it feels like it's just always bad. And then the Mel torches aren't that exciting. And Supai, I just haven't figured out yet. So if Moros didn't exist, I would be right there with you on the torches. I mean, like, these weapons feel like fragile and awkward and hard to use.
That is how I would describe them.
Yeah.
Other things that you mentioned there, before we get too far away from them. I also didn't really use the run much. Like, I kind of just played it like it was the first game, until I got to Cerberus, who's like the third boss, and that taught me that the run is good, actually. Like, dodging most of his moves is bad. Running away, or at least in my opinion, running away from them is like 10 times more effective. And that, I feel like that felt like intentional design to me. Like, that boss was like, which is weird that it came so late, but like it felt like it really like incentivized you to use the dash, which I learned to do while learning that boss. So after that, I used it quite a bit more. But yeah, I completely ignored it for like the first, however many hours.
That's fair. Well, also just like a lot of the chambers don't give you a lot of room to run around.
Yeah.
So like just dashing, it's one of those weird things because it's like there's like there are dash
what's it
boons.
called? The third zone, because all the areas are big.
Oh yeah. The morning fields.
Yeah. So there's more reason to use it there.
They're like dash boons, right? That affect like your running in some way. And some of them trigger on dash and other ones trigger on sprinting, like if you run by someone or through someone. And I always found that really awkward because there were so many rooms where running just felt like wasting time when you could just dash. And so I would tend toward the boons that activated on dash rather than on just on sprint. But I'm not even 100% sure like how true that ends up being. But I kind of mostly also just dash in the morning fields.
Oh yeah. I run around those like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, there's this one...
yeah, I mean, sorry, I didn't mean run, not dash.
Oh yeah.
Not the evade.
Right. No, yeah, there's this one Hermes boon that gives you just like a shield while you're running. And I was like, when I first found that, I was like, oh my God, this is the bread and butter right here. This is the best thing in the game. I'm going to take this every time. But like at least for me, like I guess I didn't mess around with it too much. It rarely comes up. Like I think I saw it in my total playtime like 3 times max come up. So I was like, okay, maybe I won't take that all the time because I won't be able to find it.
That's just random chance, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like you can force it if you like take rolls and stuff with the cards. We'll talk about the cards later.
It happened to me a couple of times where like it wasn't there in the list, and then I re-rolled and it wasn't there again. I was like, well, fuck it then.
Yep. Now we just do something else. Yeah. No, I was like that with the so big Axe fanboy have played a lot of the Axe as described. Probably the best, my favorite, and also probably the best hammer for the Axe is Psychic Whirlwind, which lets you do the spin attack.
Like Daedalus hammer.
Yeah. But while it's happening, you can also dash and special and do other attacks. And I swear to God, I've played it. I've gotten it like twice in the whole time.
Yep.
It was the first hammer that I ever took for the Axe, and then I got it maybe 2 other times after that. It's been like it just like never shows up for me for some reason.
Yeah, like the ones I liked on the blades were like the one that lets you do like plus 500 damage to armor is really good. The one that like it like increases your backstab damage by some 100 amount, that's really good. And there's one where it makes the last hit of like your regular attack combo do like a bunch of damage. Those are the best 3. You usually can get at least one of those.
Yeah, and it's one of those weapons that like. So I think the one that affects the last one, at least last attack, gives you like power as opposed to a percentage increase, which is really nice on the daggers because they're a weapon that attacks really quickly, and so it's like a weird thing that like could push you into taking maybe a different attack boon than you normally would. So I think that's like one of those really well designed hammers. I feel like the armor ones are still in such a weird spot, like they were in the first game as well, where it's like if you get them early, they're really, really good because they're effective against like all the mini bosses and like half the enemies in the game.
They're clutch in Oceanus, I think, especially. If you can get it before then, it's like absolutely worth taking it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I found that's what I always found myself doing. It was like that was like always the fallback for the first hammer. It's like, well, if I have like a melting hammer, I'll go with that one. But yeah, it was I think generally speaking, I think the hammers are pretty well designed. I think that the one I'm thinking real hard. I want to say the one exception is the skull. I think the hammers for the skull are incredibly lopsided, with like most of them being quality of life at best, like fetching array, which just like returns your skulls to you faster. But then also there's possessed array, which is broken and makes you just like drop nukes constantly. So I don't really know about that weapon as much, but I did find that like almost every time I picked up a hammer in this game, it was like a genuine like thought process. And I do wonder if that is me not realizing in my head, like instinctually in the moment, that this is a new game and I have to learn things about it, as opposed to like I'm thinking about me playing Hades for 400 hours and picking up a hammer and immediately knowing which thing is the one that I'm going to take. But I like to imagine that they learned from the first game and sort of made the hammers feel more well-rounded and like catering to different play styles.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably at least a bit of both. But no, I feel like everything's just better balanced in this. Like just boons overall. Like I feel like in the original, like I avoided Poseidon always because I thought his boons all sucked. And in this one, he's got actual regular boons like the other like the other gods. So like it's not something to be avoided anymore. Yeah, and I feel like every time like you get a selection of boons to pick from, it's like an actual decision more so than the first one, at least to my memory. Like everything feels better overall, like better choices.
I might agree with that. It's been a while since I've
would know better than I would.
Yeah. I mean, possibly. I don't know. I'm a big idiot after all. But there is like I do kind of agree. I think that one of the best elements that the like magic bar, which I'm normally opposed to adding meters to games, but the addition of the magic bar added a lot of knobs that they could turn to make the balance of all of the boons feel a little bit better. So rather than every boon having to just be like all good, or like the drawback has to be some weird thing, they have a ton of boons in this game that were like, it makes things cost more mana, or it primes your magic, like so that you have less of it to work with, and that can tailor your build into a different sort of direction based on that. And I think that that's been really good. I think a lot of things. Zeus was famously like a little bit overtuned in Hades 1. Eris Rail with Zeus on attack was like one of the like top speedrun builds basically for the entire life of the game because of just how much room clearing potential it has. And so they took that ability, which people like and is fun, and they gave it a drawback of priming your magic in this game. So it's no longer on the attack. It's now just sort of a global thing that happens, but you have to sacrifice 50 magic, which is a huge amount, in order to use it. So I do like that kind of a balance. I think they struck really well. On the other hand, I do think that Zeus's current attack and special boon, the Blitz ability, is maybe also too strong. Like I think they may have made Zeus very good in both games,
Zeus
which is thematically great. Appropriate.
Yeah, and I think Chain Lightning is one of like the best like just stray add-on abilities.
Right.
Like, it's one that I picked up often at Echo as like pick a boon from a previous run. I'm like, I'll just take Chain Lightning.
Grab Chain Lightning.
Just grab that.
I mean, spoken like a true daggers player.
Yeah.
As I get the one that makes all of my attacks deal more damage.
Yeah. I do love that move. And to reach way back now, to Omega move. I found myself not using them that much. And I don't know if it's because of the weapon that I liked, if maybe the dagger ones aren't that great. But like it's not like I never used them, but like they just never really felt as, I don't know, they felt like way more situational to me, and like I don't know, I also like, this is the thing we've talked about, like it's like a player psychology thing, but like it feels bad to use the depletable resource, like to use the magic meter to me. So like I found myself like rarely using it, and that probably was limiting my ability to get better at the game, because I'm sure like taking advantage of it would make things easier, but I don't know. I find it unsatisfying kind of overall as a mechanic personally.
Yeah, they had to do a lot to make it work, but I think that what they landed on is good, but you do have to kind of know what it is that you're looking at to like get how to make them work. I think because you played a lot of daggers, of Lim and Oros, it makes a lot of sense because its Omega attacks are all kind of booty. I think specifically on Pan, you obviously want to be using the Omega special because that's like the thing that the aspect does. The Omega attack is like, it's the way that I mostly triggered Morrigan's Blood Triad move, but it is also not great. Like it just like launches you into danger constantly, and it takes like a long time to charge up, and the range is like always a little bit shorter than you think it is. This contributes to why I dislike the daggers, because I felt like their Omega moves were not very good. The Axe's Omega moves also are not super good. So we really aren't the best people to be talking about it, I guess, in that respect. The Whirlwind is good if you are like building around it and using things like, there's a tarot card, I forget which one it is, that slows time when you're charging your Omegas, which gives you a lot more leeway as to when you're going to use them. And then what's the other thing? Oh, the cast. Because the cast stops enemies, it lets you stop them and then use that time to charge your Omegas, and then use the Omegas to kill the enemies in the cast. Rinse, repeat. And that's largely how you do it with the axe. And then Chiron is just like that on not Chiron, Charon. Is that on steroids, because you use the cast and then you blow up the cast to do a whole bunch of damage. But it's the same concept, but with the special instead of the attack. I'd say if you use weapons like the torch, which you won't because you don't like the torch, the Omegas are like really core to that weapon's like play style. And I think that's probably true of like the skull. Don't ever use them. Don't ever have to use them. But torches you do a lot, and the coat is also a pretty... It's kind of Omega intensive. Mostly it's very mana intensive. It's like a really magic usage heavy weapon on all of its abilities. So, and by its abilities, I mean all of its aspects. So it's really like weapon dependent. Staff, I think, goes a little bit in both directions. But for me with the staff, it's like you spam the Omega special, and that's like the whole play style of the weapon. I think the staff is probably everyone's middle favorite weapon, because it's not bad. One. Yeah, it's the starting weapon. It's not bad. It doesn't like do anything that blows your mind. Even its hidden aspect is the one that's like the most weird, because it doesn't do the normal stuff. It makes like a damaging field. And I wanted to love it, but when I played it, I was mostly spamming the Omega special, and I was like, how does this happen? Do I need to break the habit, or is the staff just, that's the only thing it does?
Right.
But yeah, I think that they made concessions around using the Omega attacks, but also they made a lot of weapons that work without having to use them at least super frequently. So I think that your experience is probably normal, especially knowing what weapons you played.
Yeah. It just, to me, like the experience that I had only liking one of the weapons, it was just like the Omega attacks really kind of felt like fluff. And I was like, I feel like that's definitely not the actual case for the game, but that was kind of my experience. Because I was like, yeah, take my magic away. I'm not gonna use it.
I'll take fucking what's it called? Not electric overload.
Oh, chain lightning.
Take chain lightning every time.
Yeah, that's not the name of the ability. That's just the name of the effect, I think.
Oh yeah,
but
it creates chain lightning.
Yeah. But anyway,
yeah. But yeah, that is. We actually talked more enthusiastically about like the weapons than I thought that we would. Honestly. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on them, but I feel like it would be getting too nitty gritty to like really make too much of a difference. I do want to talk about the sort of end game stuff in relation to that I thought was very interesting. I think it branches off of this conversation well, and it talks about more like how you play the game, because there's at the end of the game, after you get like the ending, like the credits ending, you get a keepsake from Hades and Persephone. I'm just assuming that you don't care about spoilers.
No,
if you do care about spoilers at this point, go play the game. It's technically been out for like a year and a half. So what have you been doing the whole time, guys? But you get a keepsake that gives you some bonuses. They're like, what it actually does is it makes every boon that you pick up is at level 4, or is at +4, so level 5 by default when you get it, and you start the run with a random boon from Hades. But in order to activate it, you can't take any god keepsakes and you can't have any rolls. So you have to be at the fate's whim. So it forces you into a sort of more classic roguelike playstyle where you can't sort of hyper-focus your build, which I presume you would not care about at all. And most people that I talk to about this game are like, yeah, it's just an improvement most of the time, because I didn't want to think like 100 steps ahead. But if you're me and somebody who does like to go in with a specific plan and like a thing that you want to do, I absolutely love this mechanic. There are 3 different keepsakes that are sort of built around it. So if you've played Hades 1, if you've participated in any conversation about Hades 1, a lot of people talk about how the game feels less like a traditional roguelike because you have so much control over like the build you're making. That was part of the appeal for me. But now that I've played this game and have had the experience of like do that and be heavily rewarded for like planning and forethought, or don't do that and be heavily rewarded for adapting on the fly and trying to like figure out a build on like just as you go. I love that it gives you 2 options that feel equally viable. And I just think it's a great sort of thing that the game did. So I guess the to put it to you, like as somebody who is a more, I guess, casual player of the Hades franchise generally, you did play a lot of Hades 1 though. Did you feel like this game had a similar amount of like build control, or was it the kind of thing that you just like weren't interested in doing and more just wanted to sort of see how things panned out?
It felt mostly the same, I think, to me. Yeah, like to me, like the amount of like build control that there really was the keepsakes. Obviously, I didn't get like too nitty gritty. I'm sure there's more things you can do to manipulate it. But like, if there was like a specific god I was going for, I would just take their keepsake. So like in the beginning, I would like experiment. Because like, I'm using the blades. Like I favored like Aphrodite and Demeter early on, because they make people slower and weaker, which is good with a close-up weapon. And then I eventually stumbled upon the Hephaestus abilities. And the strategy of just like picking one of those at the start and then just focus on like pumping it up to like +12 or whatever. and that was my favorite thing to do. And once I figured that strategy out, I was able to just do it every time. So I feel like there is like a pretty good amount of build control, and I feel like the game, like in little ways, like kind of like enables that. Because like I feel like anytime I was going for that kind of build, which was most of the time after I figured it out, like I would have whatever the attack or the special ability from Hephaestus was, it like +6 or something by the time I would get to Echo in the third area and in the morning fields. And every time that was the case, she would have the ability, what was it, Pom Pom Pom?
That's
that
the one,
will just double the level of a boon, and it would always pick that one.
Yeah.
So like
it doubles the level of the one that has the highest.
Yeah,
level
it's like
already.
they see what you're doing and they like enable you to do it better. So yeah, I feel like there's probably lots more stuff, you know, because there's a bunch of weapons and a bunch of boons. There's a bunch of stuff like that I didn't experience that like enables you to kind of have some control. So, and at least to my memory, I feel like maybe the first game had a little bit less of that, but I might just be misremembering. I don't remember.
No, I think you're right. The Hades one had fewer like direct power spikes, especially ones that could apply to a bunch of different stuff. Like I have taken Pom 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 like nearly every time it's offered because it's just always doing the thing that you want to do more. Except when you're in the Fate's Whim kind of situation where you don't have as much control, sometimes the highest boon palm that you have is not the one that's doing the most damage for you, and so you wouldn't take it. But if it's not like abundantly clear already, I really liked this game. And I like this game a lot for the things that I like doing in it. But I also like this game a lot for the fact that just like somebody could have a totally different experience that is also enjoyable, because that is really interesting to me, because it is like you are talking about like having like a build control and having like a strategy that you're going for, and it's just like different than stuff that I've done in like hundreds of runs. I've not been like, let's just start on Hephaestus and then use the Pom 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 ability on Echo to make it like trigger all the time. Like I've done similar things, but like, oh, I'll go for the Poseidon duo, or like I'll do this other thing. But like that is like a strategy that you can go through that I just like hadn't thought to do at this point. But yeah, I think your take is pretty right. This game is a little bit more permissive and is more open to having the player just become like very strong in certain ways than the first game was. The first game had like things that were very strong, but it didn't have like the variety of things that were very strong that this game does. So I think I just agree with your assessment on that one. Hephaestus, interestingly, was the last god keepsake that I leveled fully because I just could never figure out what to do with him. But I've been playing around with him more and have liked him more recently.
Yeah, like I was the same way early on. I was like, none of these seem any good. It was like my first kind of impression. But then like, I just one run, he showed up early on and I took either his attack or special. And then I think I just happened to get the Poseidon duo boon, which reduces the blast time. And it worked pretty well. I didn't, know to go all in on it, like, which is like the strategy that works for it. But like, Hephaestus kind of seems like you have to go just all in on him for him to work. So like taking his keepsake, picking one of his main attack abilities early, and then just like having to ignore that voice in your head that like wants to go for other stuff and be like, I gotta go for the pomegranates. Like it doesn't matter. I don't have to take other boons. I don't have to do like, I don't have to, ordinarily if it was like a pomegranate and a heart in the first zone, I would go with the heart because I always like worry about my health until it's like above 100 or whatever. But like if it was like you got to shut that off and go for the pomegranate, like you just got to pump up the Hephaestus ability and get it down far enough, and then hopefully be able to get the pom 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 ability, and like you can get it to like fucking plus 14 or whatever by the end, in which case it like recharges every second and you can just obliterate shit. So like you have to just focus on it completely, and that's unintuitive.
It is, yeah. And I was like, I'm not willing to intuit that.
Yeah, it took me a minute to get there because like I stumbled upon the strategy just on my own, but then didn't really like focus in on it till I like did a little bit of Googling, and people were like, this is actually really good. I was like, oh, okay, this is like a thing I've actually like kind of stumbled upon myself, so I'll look into this a bit. And then, you know, the rest is history. It's just now my favorite way to play. Especially with having his special, because you can use it at range.
That's true. Well, on that weapon in specific. But yeah, that actually is how, like, if I end up with Hephaestus on an attacker special, a lot of times, like, if I'm on, like, Axe or something, I'll put him on the special because it's just, like, an attack I don't use as much. And I just remember, okay, like, every 11 seconds or whatever, throw it out, and that's, like, 700 damage. Like, he's good at being, like, at slotting into a build in a place that no other god really fits, but also good at if you just hyper focus and make it about him. Yep. There's not like a middle ground. He's either like the main thing you're doing or like I will take the armor bonuses.
yeah, or he's like the spice. Yeah. The garnish.
But yeah, I ended up liking him in the end, which is true of most of the. I still don't like Poseidon really in either game.
I actually liked Poseidon in this one because he had like regular attack boons, which he did have original.
Yeah. He had like his attack boon in the original was like a very small percentage boost, and it was weird because it did like the push away thing. They changed it in this game so that it pushes away other enemies that aren't the one that you're hitting,
right?
And it made it so much more usable, because that was the biggest problem with Poseidon in the other game is you would hit someone and then they would go out of range of your attacks,
right?
And it was like, why am I using this again?
Yeah, I liked his cast, like whatever, it does like froth damage or whatever.
Yeah, his cast is still great.
His dash was pretty good. Be able to run and push shit out of the way, pretty useful.
Pretty nice. Yeah. I do like it. He has a duo with Ares that makes the attacks. First of all, it turns them into blood, which is very funny. It's called arterial spray, and it makes any of your splash attacks deal more. Like they happen twice, I think it is. It like doubles them. And I've tried to get the like splash dash plus that plus the Ares boon on multiple occasions, and have just like never gotten it to come out on top for me. I don't know why. But yeah, I don't know. Poseidon is better. I still disfavor him, I would say. I don't know. Do you have like a favorite god?
Oh god. I mean, I feel like it has to be Hephaestus. But like I feel like Aphrodite is up there for me. Like weak is really good for the blades, and Demeter as well. Like slow is also great. Like that's like mostly what I focused on before I found the Hephaestus strategy. Would be just go Aphrodite and Demeter. I don't know if they have a duo.
Yeah, they all do.
I'm sure they do. I don't know if I ever got it.
It's definitely not one that I take a lot because I'm not thinking about it right. Wait, Demeter Aphrodite I think is... I don't know the name of it. It increases your damage by 10% for every 100 max health you have. That's what it is. which is never going to get above like a 30 to maybe 40% increase. But
yeah, and I never unlocked like the point in the game I am right now. I've beaten Chronos, I think 5 times, and I've gotten to Prometheus twice, I think, and not beaten him. So I've not unlocked Ares or Dionysus, even though I know they're in the game.
Right.
And those were like 2 of my favorites in the original. So I don't know. Maybe they would be in this one, but I haven't used them yet. And I liked Hera from the amount that like I've played her, or I've gotten her boons. Like I'm trying. She had like a really good effect. I can't remember what it was. It was like kind of like a support ability that was like you get your powers like upped based on how many different gods you have giving you boons. I was like, that seemed like really good.
Yeah, extended family. That is. Extended family. I did a run today, like before we got on, and it was like the perfect extended family run because it was like Scorch damage and Hephaestus blasts were like the majority of my damage, and so anything that's like a god damage thing gets boosted by it. And that's kind of like Hera's niche to some extent. I really like Hera's boons as well. I find that like most of them have a place in most builds, similar to Zeus. I think that he also has just like, well, Zeus is like specifically Blitz is good on every weapon. Hera, like most of her boons can be taken on most weapons and have them work pretty well. Hitch is very strong as a curse. Shit like that. So, yeah, I really like them. Hestia is my favorite. Hestia and Ares probably are my 2 favorite. Like I'm sad that you didn't get to Ares. I didn't remember what the unlock requirements for him were. But you might have to beat the surface to get him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know if this is a thing that ever comes up on the podcast. I am like a damage over time fan. I love damage over time and like poison effects and burning and stuff. Like status effects are like my favorite thing in like RPGs and shit. And so I loved Hestia in this one. I think that I like Hestia more than Dionysus in the first game, even though their abilities are marginally similar, because you can get up to 999 stacks of Scorch. And so you're like, oh, look, I made a bigger number. And then you get really excited about it. And then it takes forever for the enemies to die, which isn't maybe as good. But I just really liked Hestia.
Yeah, I like Hestia because of well. She was usually like my splash character. Like if like I was going like Aphrodite and Demeter, like I would usually like throw in her like some ability of hers as well on top of it, like her cast or her dash or something.
Her cast I think can go on pretty much any build also, 'cause it's just like a free curse. It deals damage. It's nice. It's good stuff. Oh, and my bad news is that unfortunately Dionysus is not a full god. He's like Athena, where he has like a NPC interaction that you can have, and he offers like a set of boons.
Okay.
Which are all like funny, but also I don't prioritize him most of the time, because they tend to have very weird drawbacks to them. One of the most common ones that I take is a boon called Worry Free, which gives you, depending on its rarity, like between like 50 and 100 additional max HP, but it hides how much HP that you have for the rest of the game, which is one of those things that just like makes you nervous. You're like, oh, am I about to die? I have no way of knowing. But that also leads into the thing that I almost wanted to start the podcast talking about. What a lot of the reason for why a lot of these gods are like my favorite gods and how they look is how they look, right? Like I think that following in the tradition of Hades 1, and Supergiant Games as a whole, for the most part, all of the character portraits and stuff are really just well designed. They're like a great mix of like cartoony and that like like they're gods. Like they give an unreal human being shape. They're exaggerated in a way that is like an interesting and they just have like these very good designs. The other thing though with Hades 2, because Hades 1 also did that really well, I think Hades 2 aesthetically is like just so much cooler than the first game. And I don't know how subjective that is. But I find it really impressive because this game is in 3D as opposed to the first game. Which was all 2D sprites. This one was actually like modeled, or at least like the characters and stuff are.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's like a whole new engine, even though it looks and plays almost exactly the same graphically.
I thought the first game
weird.
I thought the first game was like that too. Like I thought it was 3D.
I would have guessed that, but I only learned it since this game like released in 1.0. Apparently they did change everything because now apparently somebody has ported the run from Hades 1, like the underworld, into Hades 2, and all of the enemies are 2D sprites. And it causes some problems with the engine because like things miss on like a Z-axis level because it's like programmed differently.
I would have bet money that the original was also like that.
Which does that make the first game actually more impressive because they gave that impression without it being true? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like in my head they looked almost exactly the same. So I would have only so I do think this game looks better, the second one, but like I would have just said marginally. Like I feel like if you look at a lot of the character portraits of the returning characters from the original, I was like, oh, I feel like they like tweaked the pose and tweaked the design in just the right way, and it like looks nicer in the second one. And so yeah, I feel like everything felt like just like polished up just the right amount, but I guess there's more has changed than I thought, I guess. But I also, because I was just like watching a review earlier today, and they were showing like clips of like Transistor and Pyre and stuff. And in my head, those games also look more similar in aesthetic to Hades, like in my memory. But then they showed the character portraits from Pyre, and I'm like, oh, that's just like a different art style. Just like straight up. Like in my head, they like look similar in my memory, but like I guess they're more different than I remember.
I mean, that's good to hear from you because like I also would have thought that and would have assumed it's just because Hades has taken up too much of my like mental real estate.
Yeah, like the character portraits in Pyre are like more painterly, whereas like this is more of like a digital illustration aesthetic. Yeah.
But I mean, to your point, I agree with you. Generally, I think that a lot of the things that are like visually different on like a like especially like you were talking about with the returning gods, like I think it is like spruced up and changed in a way that makes them feel different and maybe improved a little bit. But I think my point, or rather what I mean to say about it is that I love, I guess, the color green. I love this game's like style more than Hades 1's, which is like very it was a lot, I guess, like warmer.
You like the cool color,
like its colors. Yeah, and I love that this game, I love the like the woodsy crossroads with the big bubbling cauldron, and all of the like just aesthetic decisions I think are really strong in this game. Which I think is a more, I guess, subjective take.
Yeah. I think I personally, like, I would ordinarily, I think, fall to your side there. I like cooler color palettes. I like forests and oceans and things like that generally more than like warmer color aesthetics. But like, I think I favor the first game a little bit. Like, just like on like thematic levels, I guess. I like I feel like it feels a little bit more like tight, like the idea of like the prince of the underworld trying to escape it. to get to the surface to see his mom. I feel like that's a little bit cleaner and tighter. And I love the fight with Hades in the snowy field. There's just like something about that like journey out of the underworld and like that aesthetic evolution that I really like on a thematic level. But and I think the second game is not quite as tight in that respect. But just like, oh, you're in the spooky witch woods. And you have to go fight Chronos. Like it doesn't feel quite as tight.
No, that's fair.
So that's letting other things bleed into the aesthetic choices, I guess.
Yeah, but it is also like because I mean this was like a fully subjective discussion, but it is a when you're in a appeal to Andy's aesthetic sensibilities competition and my opponent is a snowy field, you're like, oh no. There's nothing I can do.
Do you like a good snow level?
It is very characteristic of you. Yeah, and I think that like that extends to a lot of the presentation. The thing that I most applies to from what you said to the game itself. I don't know. Did you like watch the ending on YouTube or anything like that?
I have not.
Okay. I don't think it's necessary to spoil it to talk about it. Not for your sake necessarily, but just like this is kind of a long game, and if anybody played it up to this point, I think that this is a weird discussion. And I'm going to tell you the cold, hard facts, and I want to know what your opinion is on this.
I've already had it spoiled on me. I know you fight Zagreus.
You do fight that's not part of the story, though, actually. Yeah.
So
that's just
I don't really care if you spoil it.
No, that's fair. I just think that this is... Here's the interesting thing, I guess. There was an ending to this game.
I have heard about that they changed it.
Yeah, it's so weird to me. So the ending of the game has Chronos still alive, and he has flipped allegiances. He is now a member of the family, and then the excuse for you to continue doing the roguelike runs of the game is that you are going through multiple timelines and killing the Chronos in all of those timelines to prevent the same thing happening or whatever. Mm-hmm. And in the original version of the ending, the idea not to kill Chronos was Zag doing it. Because I think Chronos is really well portrayed up to this point in the game where he is genuinely menacing. I've had multiple people tell me how much they just love his voice and like the effect that they put on it. Mm-hmm. Which I agree with. I think he sounds great.
Yeah, he's got kind of how they did Odin in God of War, Ragnarok. He's like a menacing old guy.
Without being, and this goes for both of them, not a buff anime grandpa.
Right, they're not like Hades himself.
Exactly, yeah. And so they let him back into the house, and he like raises Mel with everybody else and like has a great time. And then you cut back to the present and he's like, oh, I had this memory of a great time that I had raising my family when I didn't do the bad thing I did. So I'm just going to free everyone. And then we're going to go kill me 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 times.
You have to melt his hot heart with a Fresh Island song or whatever.
You have to melt his hot heart with a Fresh Island song. The main difference, and I beat the game before they did this, but before they melted his hot heart.
Yeah, they melted his icy heart with a hot island song.
Yeah, before they did any of that. I finished the game. I saw the original ending. Everybody, and myself kind of included, agree that it's kind of abrupt. That Chronos goes from being the ultimate evil and everyone wants to murder him to a guy who isn't that. Mm-hmm. And they changed it. And from what I could tell, the main thing that they changed was that it's Milenowi's idea not to kill him, if possible. And so it isn't just like Zagreus just taking the agency away from the lead character of Hades 2, which I kind of like. I like that aspect of it, but I feel like it doesn't solve the problem that Chronos was a supervillain to now he's grandpa. So like, I don't know.
It is like a narrative pickle because like you can't kill him because then it would just undo time itself because he's like the literal embodiment of time. So, I mean, I guess like, yeah, your options were to like make him to melt his icy heart with a hot iron or to do what they had done before in the mythology, which is just cut him up and spread all the pieces of him to the fucking corners of the underworld again.
I mean, which apparently bought them like several eons.
Yeah,
which seems like a pretty good amount of time.
So yeah. I do understand like why it would be difficult to come up with a satisfying ending for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they probably should have thought of that, in the 5 years that they were developing the game.
That's true. I want to extend a special thanks, I guess, if this is the credits of the episode. A very special thanks to everybody who bought and played this game in early access, because I didn't. And so I got like the beautifully polished final product that was like all those people's feedback, but I knew that I was going to play the game, so I didn't want to like go through the iterative process with it. I wanted to have it all at once. That's a very selfish thing to do.
I think it's the normal thing to want.
Probably,
personally.
maybe. No, that's fair. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I feel like these people have gone above and beyond by playing the early access version. So, but yeah, it's interesting because like I think about early access and whatever other, like system where games come out in iterative chunks as a way to refine the games in very technical ways. But I never considered a game being in early access and then having a release and having one of the changes. Technically, this came as an update after the first, like the 1.0 edition, but like, bear with me. To be like, we changed the ending of the story. Like, that feels very like unusual to me. I don't think it's like bad that they did it necessarily, but it does feel strange from like a creative standpoint to change the narrative of your game after it's been released.
I mean, especially with Supergiant, I feel like storytelling's like their thing, or one of their things.
Yeah, no, it's especially because it is one of the things that people really attached to the first Hades about. And there's a lot of that stuff in here. There's still an insanely impressive amount of dialogue for like every imaginable thing that could happen. Like I'm still going through character dialogue after 120 hours in this game. So like that stuff is all still there. And I don't think that the story is necessarily bad. I do think it's worse. It's less relatable, I think, in this sense. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like super strongly about it, but I do think it's kind of like a unique thing that doesn't happen very often. That I wanted to mention.
Yeah, and it kind of like stems off of like the first note that I took, which is just like, this is the first sequel the Supergiants ever made. And especially like being based in the Greek mythology, like Hades is like, it feels like they used it really cleverly in the first one, as I kind of touched on a bit ago. Yeah, it's like you're the prince of the underworld. You want to go to the surface to meet your mom, so you have to like battle your way out, which is already based in mythology. I can't remember like what character, if it's Hercules or somebody, gets sent to the underworld and they have to fight their way out. It's like loosely based on something in Greek mythology. Right. And so I think that really works, and like Hades is a very natural final boss, because he's kind of just doing his job, like you just can't let him leave, but and there's like a moral kind of thing tied up in it, and like blah blah blah. and so it just feels like more like thematically and narratively tight. And it does kind of feel like they were like, okay, we want to make a sequel, but everything has to be different. So like we need, like, they feel like they kind of scrambled to come up with stuff that would fit. And I think they did a remarkably good job. You know, like Chronos works well as a villain. It justifies the, or at least thematically justifies like the roguelike thing where like you'd keep repeating the same cycle. You know, it's related to time. And you know, like, yeah, like the crossroads work as a hub, etc. and so forth. Like I think they did a really good job, but like just none of it just feels like it's just like as good of a fit as the original was. Like the concept of the original of just escape the underworld is really clean, whereas like hide in the realm between woods with this witch and then try to break into the underworld to overthrow the Titan of Time who snuck into the Hades to, you know, to overthrow it. You know, it's just a little messier. So I don't know. Yeah, like I feel like they handled it really well in a lot of ways as a sequel, but like, yeah, it feels more forced. Like the original was like a very inspired concept, so it's hard to follow that up.
Yeah, it makes like a level of simplicity in its story with a like a friendly, almost like relatable atmosphere, like all the friendships you have with the characters, which were what eased the sort of roguelike pain that a lot of people feel in that genre. So it was like a really beautiful marriage of form and function in that way. Like both narrative and mechanical sides were aided by the setting and the concept. And this game, I think, comes in assuming that you're sort of over that hump already. Not that this game is particularly more harsh when it comes to those elements. It's just like the complexity of the story requires a lot more just like in-universe detail than the first game ever needed. Like, oh, well, obviously we got to get the Z sands so that we can, you know, manifest a weapon capable of killing the Titan of Time, whatever. Like, there's a lot going on that is just sort of like stuff happening that isn't immediately an impact on Millennium or any of the other characters that you care about in the way that everything kind of was in Hades 1. And ultimately why I just think that like the narrative content of the first game is just wins me over a little bit more than this game does. Even though I like Millennium and I love specifically Hecate's voice actress. I should have looked her up before doing the podcast. I think she's fucking so good. I don't know what it is about her. But like she hits like the tone really well. And there's some like more resonant stuff that happens like late in the game, like way late in the game. That I think she handles really well also.
Yeah, no, I think Millennium is a great follow-up protagonist. I think the thing that Supergiant is the best at is characters. And there's something about the way her name is spelled versus how it's pronounced that always fucked with my head. Like, it took me like several hours to remember how her name is pronounced. Because like the way it looks versus the way it's pronounced just doesn't compute to my brain, I guess. But yeah, no, yeah, I think she's like a great character. And yeah, I'm glad that it's not just Zagreus again. I like that it's a different character. And I like the way that they integrate Zagreus into the game. I think that's pretty well done.
Yeah, I think it was probably important for him to be in the game, but I agree. I think that it's like it would have been bad if he was in the game in a way that like overshadowed Millennium's story.
And it would have been, I think, boring to have him be the protagonist again. Because I think like structurally the game is too similar that like if he was the protagonist again, it would have felt like too much of the same thing.
Agreed. Yeah. We're going a little long. So I did kind of there are a few things that I do want to hit on before we wrap up. One of them is like directly like a criticism that I have of the game that I want to talk about, but I think we need to build. I can't just drop this monologue for no reason. What did you think about? I am asking largely because of the Chronos fight, but like the boss fights in this game generally. You've seen all but one of them as it is, so that's mostly all done.
Yeah, this is something I was kind of like struggling in my head to remember how I thought about the ones in the original. Because like I feel like Hecate is way easier than Meg ever was. Slash Meg and the other Furies. I don't know if her fight ever escalates like that where it gets harder. But I never saw that. And then I like the Sirens a lot. They're probably my favorite. It might just be the song. I want to claw out your eyes and drown you to death or whatever.
It's so good.
Yeah, it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah,
for sure. And I like, yeah, you fight them. You can fight them one at a time and kill them in any order. And then there's like the featured artist in the second half. There's just like a lot going on that fight's a lot of fun. Cerberus is cool. Like, I felt like each one like I got stuck on for a bit, but then like once like clicked with me, it felt pretty easy. And there's all like the little mini bosses. I felt like the rat.
Yeah.
What's his name? Something.
The game gives him like 3 different names.
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
in 80s one, it's the tiny vermin.
Yeah. That boss is like the biggest run killer for me.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Sometimes it goes really well and I kill him pretty fast and don't take that much damage. And other times he just destroys me. Like it feels like it can flip flop either way. And I hate when that one pops up. But all the other mini bosses I don't think really stand out as much in my head. But I don't think anything's as bad as what was the character? Is the Minotaur and is it
and Theseus?
And Theseus in the original, like that was always like difficult. It was like the whole run you were like it really comes down to that fight. Like if I burn a Death Defiance on that or not. Like there's nothing in this game that was quite that hard for me.
Yeah,
even what's her name on the Surface World
Eris.
path? Yeah, she's hard, but I don't think she was that bad.
No, yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So yeah, I say overall, it feels like they're all fun or like good fights, but I don't think anything's quite as hard as fucking Theseus and the Minotaur.
No, yeah, that's I agree with that. I think in terms of like just like with the scaling of everything.
Yeah, but like, I think like they're all of like the major boss fights are like better than the Hydra from the first game, and you know.
Yeah, I am so mixed on it which it makes sense because it's like a different set of bosses. There's like going to be some that I like more than others. But I feel like there's a different philosophy that they took when designing bosses in this game. And there are a lot more like invulnerability phases, but times when the boss is like out of the arena doing other shit, which Eris is particularly guilty of. That, I don't know, it made me, I found that to make a lot of the fights less fun than they should have been in my mind. I hate to admit it now. I would have hated to admit this weeks ago, and I'm more okay with it now. But I think I agree with you on Scylla and the Sirens. I think that I do like that fight. I hated that fight when I started the game, but I like got used to it, and now I do just like it. And a lot of it is the music, yes, but like it is cool.
Yeah, I think that boss has a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a lot, and it's one of those ones that doesn't have that problem of, like, you'll do damage and then you just have to, like, run away for a minute, because there's always other people you could be attacking. So, yeah, I think that's a pretty good breakdown. Did you find Chronos to be a fun fight?
I feel like his first phase is harder than his second phase. I don't know if that's a hot
true.
take.
No, that's just accurate.
So yeah, I struggled on that first phase for several runs before I got it down. And I really like the boon that makes him summon half the amount of reinforcements like that. I always take that one because it's much better to not have to deal with them. But like overall, I think it's a pretty good fight. Like I feel like he has like he doesn't have too many moves. Like it's easy to kind of learn, not easy, but it's like manageable to learn his move set. The only time it ever feels like bullshit to me is like when he like changed a bunch of those moves where he like swings his scythe or like does the charge, and he's like the cosmic trail or whatever. If he like change a bunch of those in a row, that can kind of just like fuck you if you're not expecting it. Like that's the only thing that feels bad to fight against, I think.
This is why you and me prioritize those health pickups.
Yeah, you gotta. But like overall, I think like I like the time spheres. Like I think it's like a cool fight, and like I like the second phase where you're fighting him like on basically like on a big clock. Yeah, you know, and I think he's got a lot of cool moves and a lot of the different like time manipulation effects. Like I think it's pretty well executed. I think more memorable than maybe just because it's been so long, but I feel like he's more memorable of a fight than Hades was.
Yeah, I had to like really think about it for a while because I think that the Chronos fight is more fun. I think that he's more varied in the stuff that he does, and while Deep Descent is really strong and makes the ads, the additional enemies, less annoying, I do think that they serve a better purpose than like in Hades 1 just having him like spawn a butterfly ball and then is just like off in the corner fucking around while you fight the boss. So I feel like Chronos is the one thing that I feel like feels like a more consistent final boss design than the other bosses, which I have sort of like more messy feelings about that I'm just probably not going to get super deep into. And this is the thing I want to talk about that you're not going to have any context for, and I apologize.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. The first game in the Pact of Punishment had extreme measures, which added additional like things that happened to all of the bosses. So in the Furies fight, a second one would like come in and do assists. In Lerny's fight, they broke up the things, so there's more lava and the heads do different stuff, etc. This game has Rivals, and Rivals adds similar additional things, and I generally like it. It's like all I've been playing with for the last like 3 weeks, right? Like since I unlocked them, I turned them on, I learned the new bosses, whatever. I really hate how many bosses are just like, oh, you can't stand there in the Rivals fights. It's like Eris's fight becomes like a strip of land that you can run on, and then like the whole outside of it is on fire. Polyphemus's boss fight is like just the witch Medea joins him, and then the whole fucking arena is just covered in poison during certain phases, and it's really annoying to try to avoid.
Medea Halloween.
And then there's more like Pooh, a Medea poison ween or whatever. And I don't know, these things just like frustrated me, and the skill fight becomes like untenable. Because they just there's 3 enemies in the skill fight normally, right? They add Charybdis, which adds 6 tentacles and a guy who just shoots bullets at you the whole time. So it's just a nightmare. And I found the Rivals fights to be like much more annoying than the Extreme Measures fights were in the first game. And I just don't know how I feel about it. But I think that the Rivals fights for Chronos and Typhon are extremely good and cool. And it's like the one thing that I'm like, I don't know. That's where I'm like really mixed, because I feel like as I amp the difficulty up, it feels like a lot of the game is becoming more annoying more than it is like challenging and fun. But then it concludes really well. I think that the Prometheus fight and the Typhon fight and the Chronos fight, I'm middling on Cerberus. It's kind of a ho-hum, who cares kind of fight. But those ending fights are really strong and make me want to keep doing it. And it is fun. And I just don't know generally how people feel about them. But I don't like being forced to stand in a specific spot on the beach for a long period of time, is basically where I'm at with the earlier ones. That's the thing that I wanted to say.
I mean, it seems fair enough. Get good, scrub.
That is what you should tell me to do. You're correct. Honestly, I say that the rivals infernal beast fight, the Cerberus fight, is a ho-hum nothing fight. It's just because I never learned it, and I would just like tank like 80 plus damage on that fight every time I go into it. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do the thing that I know will work and just survive it and get through to the next zone. So I do need to get good scrub on that one for sure. Oh, that is a weird thing to say, is like the last thing that we talk about in the whole thing. It's fucking crazy that this game has 2 paths. It's like Hades 2 and 3 in one game.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really nice surprise. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing that like sequels need. Is weirdly, I don't know, this just popped in my head. I'm just gonna go with it. But it's a weird comparison. We talked about new Pokemon Snap. We talked about how like I feel like they needed to do something different, because if they didn't, it would just feel like they just made an N64 game again. But they didn't do anything different. And like the fact that you can like go to the Mount Olympus and like there's like a surface world path is like a nice addition. Like it's like the kind of thing you would like want out of a sequel. It feels like the kind of stuff you get in a sequel back in like the PS2 kind of era, when games weren't $1 million to make, and they could actually flesh them out with more stuff. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised. And it's like a way more than I expected it to be. Because like it's like one of those things where like you go up there and you're like, oh, what is this? And then like it just keeps going and you're like, oh, this is like a whole second like campaign.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I went up and assumed that like you were gonna go up and fight Polyphemus and then get some item and then come back, and it was just that one thing as like a quick thing.
Yeah, I thought it might be like a boss rush mode or something. Like you can like fight all the gods or something.
Yeah, the fact that it's like an entirely different path with its own NPCs and like different mechanics and shit. I
got the I played this on Switch too. Like I this was my excuse to finally buy one, because I've been meaning to for months. And so I picked up the physical copy of it. And it comes with a manual, which is awesome because games never come with manuals anymore. And so nice. I flipped through it when I opened it, and Hercules and Icarus and Dionysus and Ares and among other characters are all in there. With little bios, like, they have their portraits and their bios, and I'm like, I keep playing it, and I'm like, I haven't run into Hercules, and like, I haven't run into Icarus. Like, there must be like, I assumed there was some kind of like milestone event that would happen that would unlock a bunch more content, because I hadn't met any of these characters yet. But I didn't think it was going to be like a second campaign or like a second quest. That was quest. Cool. That was cool to find.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the service too. Like if you're like a number crunchy weirdo like me, like Ephira is a very cool zone because you have a lot of control over what you're doing. I think Thessaly is a sick visual, like being on the boats the whole time.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah, and obviously Mount Olympus is really cool as like a zone to have in the game finally. And the path is like a little bit harder than the Underworld is. If you're early on in the game, probably a lot harder. I think Prometheus is the hardest boss in the game that isn't a rivals fight. Like, I think he might not be harder than Chronos, but he's pretty hard. He's pretty fucking hard.
I mean, yeah, the fact that it's harder to get to him, I think adds to it.
Yeah, you're going to be a little bit lower on resources. Yeah, so I don't know. I love that it's there. It's crazy because like I've been playing the game for so long at this stage that I kind of took the fact that there are like 2 fucking games in here for granted, but like it's pretty dope. I mean, I'm overselling it to say that it's like 2 games, but it really is just like a lot more than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very excited about that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. And before we wrap up, I just have to say that we didn't mention Celine at all.
Oh,
but
yeah.
like, man, I don't have anything to say about the hexes mechanically, other than their interesting addition. But like, that character design. The first time I saw that, I was like, hell yeah.
I love the boon screen where she's like, where she's
reaching down up. And you're reaching up. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great portrait.
Yep.
I do want to say something about the hexes. We
can. I didn't personally have a ton to say.
No, that's fair.
Moonwater is my favorite one.
Moonwater is also my favorite one, but I never take I rarely take the hexes.
Yeah,
and I did some thinking.
Like, they pop up a lot in the morning fields, I feel. Like, that's usually when I pick up a hex. It's like right at the end.
Yeah, I never like choose to go for a hex most of the time. I did some thinking as to why that is, because it's not like they aren't good, and it's not like it isn't ever worth it to like...
It's like in the category of nice to have.
It's a nice to have, for sure. I hate the skill tree. I hate that it brings up a menu and stops gameplay. I've heard that people do, generally, which they're like, oh, you like customize it.
And it might just be like that it was so unexpected the first time I saw it. Like, what's his name? Rasputin, the YouTuber with the paper bag head logo.
That's how he prefers to be remembered,
that's his full name. He did like a video about like Hades 2, or the Hades 2 was like the framing device. It was just like games with like unnecessary mechanics and how those can make the game better. And I feel like that skill tree falls under that for me. Like, it's just like it doesn't like particularly like make the game better, you know, but like it's just kind of like neat that it's there. That's the best way I can describe why I like it.
No, I mean, that's fair. And I think that it's also fair just generally if people do like the hexes and think that they're better than calls or whatever.
Yeah. I also like the one that's just like the big beam that does like 1,000 damage.
Oh, yeah, that one's fun. That one can get
good.
kind of insane with the
also the one
on
that lets you like just jump up and then like land down on dudes.
Wolf Howl ? But yeah, I do generally like most of them, actually. There's a few that I don't like. Like, I don't like phase shift because it makes the game slow down, and I don't like when things are slow.
Of course.
That's not a good reason for it, but yeah, like I do like them. It's just I kind of avoid them, and I think that it has to do with like just I don't want to deal with the skill tree. I don't want to think about that. But I do think that they added God Sense at some point. Like I said, I didn't play the beta, the whatever, the early access part, and at some point during that development they added God Sense to them, and I feel like they're a very necessary part for me to like engage with them, because then it kind of plays more into your build. You're like, oh, I have these gods, I could get these hexes that have ties to those gods with the other effects, and then I care a little bit more. But anyway, that's all I have for hexes. I don't fully understand what it is about them that I don't like, but I'm not a huge fan generally. Do we have Chronos thoughts?
My Chronos thoughts. Yeah, I thought this was a really great sequel. Yeah, I remember you started playing Hades and you were like addicted to it, and that was all you would talk about. for a while, and then I was like, well, we have to do it for the podcast. So we did the first one for the podcast, and I got into it a lot too. I played it for like 60 hours, I think. And I do have a work from home job right now, and I do have some downtime, and especially with the holidays coming up. So like, I think I will be able to play this a bit more, but like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to quite finish it. But I'm going to try. But yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot. And yeah, it feels really like familiar, like in the way you want a sequel to, but there's a lot of stuff that's new. They added so many characters. Like, I feel like in the original, outside of the main gods, like it felt like they tried to pick characters that were the less obvious ones to pick to be in the game. And like this one, they really feel like, well, we got to throw everything in there now. Like put Hercules in there, put Icarus in there, you know, like all the characters that everybody knows, Odysseus, etc. You know, you gotta, yeah, it feels like this big, like not swan song or last hurrah, but like it really feels like we got to get it all in there this time. And I really like that. Yeah, there's like way more characters, which is what they're good at. All the voice acting's great. There's all that dialogue. Yeah, you can play the game for hundreds and hundreds of hours and still find new conversations. It's crazy. You know, they're definitely keeping those voice actors fed, giving them all that work. But yeah, it's got the 2 campaigns. Like, yeah, there's just a ton of content. Yeah, like they've got like the familiars, the cards, like you have the grasp so that you can that one thing has like 3 mechanics in it. Like you have the cards that you can equip, you have grasp, which is the amount of cards that you can equip, and then there's also the moon dust or whatever that lets you upgrade the cards. And that's 3 different collectibles, 3 different, you know, things wrapped up in this one system. Yeah, like everything comes back from the original where you have all the weapons and all the aspects. And yeah, there's just like it's appealing in all the ways the original was. I do feel like, yeah, story-wise, it's a little messier, not quite as clean and tight as the first, but like it's just a really great follow-up. Like I wasn't somebody who was like Hades 1 was my favorite game, you know, because I've heard like there's some videos that where people were like kind of disappointed with this game, and it seems like it's because the first one like was this big new exciting thing that like really blew them away, and the fact that the second one didn't make them feel the same makes them disappointed. I'm not one of those people, so I thought this was a great follow-up. I liked it a lot, and I'm just a little sad that I might not have enough time as much time to put into it as I want. So, but luckily I got it on the Switch too, so I can maybe squeeze it in there.
Yeah, you can find a bus to play it on or something.
Yeah,
that's
commuting
that's
somewhere.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I think this game is one of those games that cannot avoid being compared to its predecessor in a lot of ways. Just because of how huge and how successful Hades was. And it really did kind of change the industry in a way, in a small way, because it mostly affected like indie roguelike games, but it's an important thing, and it opened the genre up to a lot of different people. So coming into Hades 2, I wasn't sure, you know, how I was going to feel about the changes. I love doing cast builds in the first game, but now the cast's a big circle on the ground. What's up with that? Like all this kind of stuff that I had like little trepidations because I hadn't played and I'd been avoiding everything about this game before it actually released in 1.0. But I'm happy to say that now my only question is like, do I like this game more or less than the first one? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I think that it is incredibly fun. It's really good. You mentioned a lot of stuff that called to mind like 75,000 other things I could have been talking about in this game that didn't come up on the podcast. I'm like, oh, are you a strength guy? Or are you a death defiance guy? I don't like picking up all the different reagents. I like the animation and the chants when you do the spells at the cauldron, but like I don't love picking up all the stuff in the different areas. I didn't like that I had to run the surface like 53 times to get enough moss to do all the shit that you have to do with moss. But these are like pretty minor complaints. But I do think that they affect like new players more than they do people like me who have now played like everything in the game. So yeah, I honestly think it's kind of a rougher start than the first game is, but I think that it's worth it because the end game of this of Hades 2 is incredible and is just way bigger than I expected it to be. The fact that there is a second path entirely to do the surface is really cool. I think the chaos trials are sick, or at least I like the ones that are like all random, just like, I don't know. It's so fucking good. It's such a good fucking game that it's hard for me to like pinpoint a single thing that I want to focus on when it comes to a final thoughts kind of thing. But basically, I would say if you liked the first Hades game, you will probably also really like Hades 2. It is kind of more of the same in the ways that we'd been talking about, but it has this added layer of complexity in certain specific ways where you have to approach the game differently, and it feels completely fresh compared to it. So it's one of those few crossovers where it almost feels like a different game in the same genre in the amount of differences in the way that you're thinking about it, but all of the mechanics are like almost identical. So it's really just a trick that it plays in your head where you're like, oh, taking Hestia is so different from taking Artemis in the first game, but like it's not. You're still making the same kinds of decisions. There's just now more to do with the outcome of those decisions. So that's why I loved it, and that's why I played it for way too long. And that's why the Slitterhead episode was a little bit late. There's a ripple effect here that came from this game's release all the way to now. But it's over now. I can finally rest.
In Tartarus.
In Tartarus. In Erebus. Whatever. Thank you for listening to Describing the Skybox this week.
What will we be describing next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about Everhood, a indie rhythm Undertale alike game.
I don't remember. I feel like I heard about this. Like, it's been on our list for a while. I don't remember how we found it. But
you were definitely the impetus for it.
Yeah, it just looked like our kind of thing.
Yeah. I've played through it. I have many thoughts. We will almost like I do a podcast, and I'm planning on doing an episode on that game. So I am excited to talk about it. It is very cool, and a game that did surprise me in some kind of interesting ways. So looking forward to it. And another thing I'm looking forward to is Fan Brewery. It's coming soon. It's not that far away. I'm not jumping the gun on this. Get your suggestions in the Discord or in the comments, either on our website or on YouTube. And we'll put them in a big list, and we're going to make some choices. And then in February, we're going to play games suggested by all of you. So now's the time to at least start thinking about it. Did you finish your holiday shopping yet? Can I instill any more anxiety in you? But until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on our website at describingtheskybox.com or on splattershot.pro. There you can find links to our email address, our fucking Discord, where you can leave those Fanbrewery suggestions. You can find our YouTube channel and listen to any of our old episodes, including ones that we did on Hades, on Balatro, on Uma Musume, a Pretty Derby.
Downwell.
We really don't do. It's not like hack and slash games are a common thing at all, and not a thing
Hack
that we
and
talk
slash
about so much.
It's one of those words that is very vague and nebulous.
It kind of lost its like actual meaning after like 1995.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. So I guess just listen to the roguelikes then.
Yeah. Omega attack that like button.
Get 8 rock earth element to activate rallying cry to deal 50% more damage in the comments section.
After a million hours played, finally get to the surface and find out where you can find fucking bronze so that you can craft a bell to ring.
There we go. Use the use the Forge of Hephaestus to create a godly bell that you can ring.
Throughout the underworld.
It will be heard for many eons to come as the Titan Chronos regenerates himself. Goodbye. Do we have... Oh, whoa, that was way too much. Let me step that down about 11 notches.